Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 9 Part 42 based on novel. So let's start. Black rays of light erupted from the depths of the lightning cliff gorge. Astonishment and shock were displayed on the faces of many experts as they took in the unforeseen change happening before their eyes. As their gazes turned towards the sturdy and solid figure within the black light, the expressions on their faces gradually turned grave. The fluctuations from that figure caused them to feel fear and trepidation. Damn it! What the hell is that thing? Why is this cave dwelling so strange? Who would refine so many puppets when they are bored? This thing doesn't seem easy to deal with. Yes, it's much stronger than the silver corpses from earlier. What are you afraid of? When those silver corpses rebelled, we crushed them. Do you think that a single one will be able to flip the heavens? Whispers swiftly erupted in the area. After their earlier victory, the experts present were not overly afraid. After all, they had the absolute numbers advantage. However, upon hearing these whispers, Lin Dong's heart involuntarily sunk. His gaze was firmly locked on the sturdy figure within the black light. It possessed an Yimo aura that was sinister and evil to the utmost extreme and was even more overbearing than the silver corpses that he had encountered previously. Is that an Yimo? Lin Dong asked in a low voice within his heart. That's not an Yimo, Yang replied while shaking his head. His was a human when he was alive. However, the corrosion he received from the Yimo aura was too heavy. From the looks of it, the Yimo that attacked him should have at the very least reached the general level. General level, huh? Lin Dong muttered as his pupils contracted. A Yimo of this level was comparable to a human expert at the samsara stage. When he was alive, the strength of this person had likely already reached the perfect profound death stage, and was only a step away from the samsara stage. It's a pity that he fell at the hands of that general level Yimo. Furthermore, that general level Yimo planted an erosive demonic seal on his body, sealing a sliver of his consciousness within the body and completely transforming him into killing machine. So vicious. Upon hearing Yang's explanation, Lin Dong's heart palpitated in fear. Those Yimo were indeed very vicious. They did not let you off even after defeating you, but instead utilized such a vicious method. Let's find an opportunity to leave this place. This demonic corpse is extremely formidable. Even if he is no longer as powerful as when he was alive, I'm afraid that he still has a strength comparable to an advanced profound death stage expert. Although there are many experts present, it's still very hard to deal with it. Yang cautioned. Lin Dong nodded his head faintly in response. As of now, even if he were to use numerous tricks, he would at most be able to match an initial profound death stage expert. If the corpse was at the advanced profound death stage, the only thing he could do was to simply flee on first sight. While Lin Dong was conversing with Yang, due to this unforeseen turn of events, the experts from the Nine Serene Gate and the mysterious Sky Hall had cast their gazes towards the black light that had appeared. That thing is very strong. Everyone be careful. Looking gravely at the sturdy figure slowly walking out from the black light, the grey-haired elder spoke in a low voice. What exactly is it? Wiping away the blood from the corner of his mouth, Pang Hao asked while frowning. I'm not sure, but it's absolutely not something friendly. The grey-haired elder replied with a frown. It was likely that he had little understanding of the Yimo. After all, within the current world, Yimos very rarely appeared. What should we do now? I can sense an extremely strong lightning power within the body of that thing. If it turns into a thunderbolt core, I suspect that just one will be sufficient to make up for all the lightning energy contained within the thunderbolt cores that we have. Pang Hao concluded. Let's calmly observe the situation. If there's an opportunity, we'll move in and take that thunderbolt core. The eyes of the grey-haired elder flashed, as his gaze turned rather scorching while staring at the demonic corpse. He had similarly felt the enormous lightning energy contained within the body of the demonic corpse. What about that brat? Pang Hao asked while venomously staring at Lin Dong. There's no need to be impatient. As long as he's in this cave dwelling, he'll never be able to escape. It will not be too late to deal with him after all this is over. The grey-haired elder replied with a smirk. Okay. We definitely can't let that brat go. Pang Hao agreed while nodding his head. His appearance of grinding his teeth was filled with bitter resentment and fury. At the same time, at the side of the mysterious Sky Hall, Liu Xiangshuan and her people were conversing in low voices. As for the target of their discussion, it was obviously the powerful demonic corpse that had suddenly appeared. Bang! As all the eyes within the bottom of the lightning lake converged, the sturdy figure finally stepped out of the black light and appeared under the attentive gazes of everyone present. At this moment, everyone was finally able to clearly see the appearance of the black figure. His physique was a few times bigger than normal people, and when seen from afar, he appeared akin to a small giant. His body was originally a bright and resplendent silver. However, it now covered by an extremely sinister and evil black demonic pattern. The lines of this pattern extended to every inch of his body. From afar, it appeared as though countless black bugs were crawling on his body, causing people's scalps to turn numb. At this moment, pure black filled his eyes and not a single ripple or fluctuation was to be found, making him look like a dead person. Under the numerous gazes from the surroundings, he slowly raised his head. A gaze filled with an evil black aura swept across everyone present. Under his gaze, everyone felt a strange chill emerge from the depths of their hearts, causing no one to dare to take action for a time. Many experts floated in the air as they vigilantly stared at the black figure. Both sides formed a sort of confrontation, and it seemed that no one dared to take action. Within this tense atmosphere, someone stealthily swallowed a mouthful of saliva. The faint sound produced was exceeding ear-piercing in this silence. As this sound rang out, the ominous glint within the eyes of a few experts started to gradually flicker. Obviously, they did not want to be scared stiff by this demonic corpse. Let's do it! All of a sudden, a piercing shout rang out. With it, the tense atmosphere instantly shattered. In the next instant, dozens of figures shot out explosively. Boundless yuan power transformed into ferocious martial arts, hiding the sky and covering the earth as they rumbled explosively towards the black light human figure. The attack split apart the lightning liquid, before violently slamming against the body of the black light figure. In that moment, the surrounding lightning liquid was blasted apart. It's been hit. Upon seeing this scene, joy surfaced on the faces of several people. However, before this happiness could spread, they saw the black light figure slow walk out. The sinister black demonic markings on his body faintly sparkled and there was not even a single scratch on his body. The combined attacks of a few dozen experts were unexpectedly unable to cause any damage. Such terrifying defenses, upon observing this, horror and shock started to creep up into the eyes of some experts as they started to faintly feel some unease. This silver corpse before them seemed to be different than those they had faced earlier. As they feel secretly startled by this spectacle, demonic chi furiously turned strengthened within the jet black eyes of the black light figure. In the next instant, an extremely strange and shrill sound rang out from its mouth. As the shrill sound wave rang out, the black light figure suddenly shot forth. Akin to a spectre, the figure appeared before the few dozen experts that had attacked. Black light erupted, piercing through their formation in a flash, before appearing behind them. Bang bang bang. When the black light figure appeared behind those experts, their bodies instantly froze. In the next instant, clouds of bloody mists exploded on their bodies and bloody fist-sized holes had appeared at their throats. Black demonic chi rose from the edges of the holes, before shuttling into their bodies in a flash, corroding their yuan spirits inside. Miserable shrieks resounded, before quickly stopping as the corpses of the few dozen experts fell, descending towards the lake bottom. Hiss! As they watched a few dozen experts lose their lives in a blink of an eye, the surrounding people sucked in a breath of cold air. The shock and horror within their eyes had already reached the extreme. Those were 30 experts whose strength had reached the advanced life profound stage. If they were to collaborate, even a perfect life profound stage expert would be forced to retreat. However, before their eyes, they had been instantly killed by the black light figure in a blink of an eye. This was simply a massacre. Only at this moment did everyone finally understand. The strength of the black light figure before their eyes seemed to have reached a rather terrifying level. Face filled with shock, Lin Dong absorbed this entire spectacle through his eyes, before deeply exhaling. Without the slightest bit of hesitation, he pulled Mu Lingshan as he shot towards the surface of the lightning lake. That thing before their eyes was simply not something they could deal with. However, just as Lin Dong had decisively fled with Mu Lingshan, black light suddenly sparkled in the eyes of the black light figure that just killed a few dozen experts. At this moment, those eyes, which were originally totally devoid of life, unexpectedly had an extremely minute traces of a vacant expression. That's the devouring ancestral symbol. A hoarse and indistinct voice softly rang out from the mouth of the black light figure. The sound of something breaking out from the water was suddenly emitted from the lightning lake. Lightning liquid shot apart while accompanied by a deep thunderous rumble. There were many experts hovering around the lightning lake, and from their stance, they were clearly planning to charge into the lake. They were a little surprised for a time when they saw the Lin Dong duo charge out of the lake. However, Lin Dong did not pay any attention to them. He merely looked at the lightning lake below with a grave expression. A terrifying fluctuation seemed to have erupted below soon after they had exited the lake. It was likely that a bitter battle had already erupted at the bottom of the lightning lake. Nevertheless, Lin Dong did not think that those people at the bottom of the lake would be able to cause any harm to the demon corpse whose strength had reached the advanced profound death stage. This was in spite of the parties from the Nine Serene Gate and the mysterious Sky Hall, each possessing an expert who had reached the initial profound death stage. "Brother Lin Dong, are we simply going to leave?" Mu Lingshan's large eyes were a little regretful as she looked at the lightning lake and said, "Regardless of how good a treasure is, one can only enjoy it if one is alive." Lin Dong flicked Mu Lingshan's forehead and said, "That thing is very powerful. If it goes crazy, those numerous experts will suffer an extremely miserable loss even if they manage to defeat it in the end. Why should we get implicated in such a fight?" "All right then." Mu Lingshan could only mutter and nod her head upon hearing this. She was aware that given Lin Dong's cautious character, he would definitely not take such a huge risk. "We should first." Lin Dong's eyes swept around him. Just as he was about to bring Mu Lingshan and leave, his eyes suddenly hardened. Countless giant 10,000 feet high waves had suddenly erupted from the lightning lake below. Loud rumbling sounds accompanied by an extremely wild and violent energy fluctuation swept outwards. The giant waves shot towards the sky before crashing down. It was as though the area within 100,000 feet of the lightning lake was raining lightning. This sudden scene clearly caused those experts planning on entering the lightning lake to be stunned. Soon after, they saw many human figures miserably flying backwards from the lightning pillars that had shot out. In the end, all of them landed heavily at the edges of the lake. Many of them spat out a mouthful of blood as they did so. The surroundings of the lightning lake immediately became chaotic. Those experts who had yet to enter the lightning lake watched this scene with a lost expression. Clearly, they did not understand why all of these people had suddenly fled from the lake. "Quickly withdraw." The experts who had landed on the ground in a miserable fashion looked at the giant waves on the lightning lake with frightened eyes as they cried out in piercing voices. Bang! The lightning lake suddenly blasted apart after the exclamation sounded as a towering 100,000 feet tall wave rose. There was a sturdy black light figure standing indifferently at the top of the wave. An evil black aura lingered around his body, causing even the sky to become a little dim. What is that? Such a powerful fluctuation. Many pairs of eyes around the lightning lake contained some shock as they looked at the black light figure at the top of the wave. Surprised voices spread swiftly. Lin Dong's expression was grave as he watched this scene. This demon corpse was indeed powerful. Even so, many experts were unable to suppress it. Looks like choosing not to fight it was the right choice. At this point, Lin Dong glanced at a spot nearby where those from the Nine Serene Gate and the mysterious Sky Hall had exited the lightning lake. All of them were currently wearing grave expressions as they stared at the black light figure standing on the giant wave. It was likely that they felt that the situation was quite difficult to deal with. What should we do now? Pang Hao's expression was gloomy as he watched this scene. They had also attacked earlier, only to end up with some injuries and deaths. If it was not because the grey-haired elder beside him had intervened, it was likely that they would have suffered even more miserable losses. The strength of this silver corpse has likely reached the advanced profound death stage. The grey-haired elder watched the silver corpse with a dark expression as he said, "Advanced profound death stage, huh?" Pang Hao frowned. He immediately clenched his fist and gritted his teeth as he said, "It is not impossible to deal with it if we use everything we have. We have yet to reach the deepest part of the cave. It will not be to our benefit to use all our tricks here." The grey-haired elder shook his head and said, "Even though the thunderbolt core agglomerated by its body will be exceptionally powerful, its value will definitely not be comparable to the treasures deep within the cave. Hence, we cannot clash with it here." Some unwillingness flashed across Pang Hao's eyes after hearing this. However, he was also quite shrewd and naturally understood that the grey-haired elder was right. After musing for a moment, he finally nodded. "We'll leave." Relaxed expressions emerged on the experts from the 9 serene gate around him after hearing Pang Hao give the order. It was naturally best that they did not need to clash with such a troublesome thing in this place. The 9 serene gate plans to withdraw. Lin Dong had been paying attention to the activity of the 9 serene gate. He understood their intentions after seeing their stance. These people did not dare to engage in a head-on clash with the demon corpse either. Is the mysterious Sky Hall also planning to withdraw? While the 9 serene gate was showing signs of retreating, Lin Dong also discovered that the experts from the mysterious Sky Hall nearby were also showing the same signs. Evidently, the result of their discussion was the same. "We should also leave." Lin Dong was decisive upon seeing this situation. Without waiting for the 9 serene gate and the mysterious Sky Hall to leave, he took the lead and led Mu Lingshan to quickly rush towards the deeper parts of the cave. Bang! However, the demonic aura around the black light figure above the lightning lake suddenly rose just as Lin Dong was about to leave. Ripples appeared in those completely emotionless eyes. Those black eyes shot towards the direction that Lin Dong was headed towards. "Everyone, let's join hands and kill it. If the lightning energy within its body forms a thunderbolt core, it will definitely be an ultimate treasure." Even more experts had gathered around the lightning lake. After which, loud cries were emitted. These cries were filled with greed. "That's right, we have the numbers advantage. There is no need to fear it. Attack!" As shouts emerged one by one, hundreds of bright lights began to shoot forward. Powerful attacks covered the black light human figure like a storm. Lin Dong quietly shook his head after hearing the sounds of battle behind him as his speed became even quicker. They were just about to disappear into the horizon when he suddenly sensed waves of frightening energy fluctuations behind him. Soon after, miserable cries spread in the sky. Those voices were filled with thick horror. Clearly, the black light human figure had once again begun its massacre. A group of fools. Lin Dong quietly cursed in his heart. His body moved and he increased his speed once again as he attempted to hurriedly escape this troublesome place. "Lin Dong, it is chasing after you." However, Yang's voice suddenly sounded while Lin Dong was rejoicing at the decisiveness in which he had fled. This caused his face to quickly turn ashen. After which, he turned around and sure enough, he saw a black light cutting through the sky far behind him, speeding towards his location at lightning speed. Damn it! Lin Dong's expression was extremely ugly when he saw the black light rushing towards him. He was aware that the reason this had occurred was most likely due to the devouring ancestral symbol in his body. Hurry and leave. Lin Dong was anxious. He urged Mu Lingshan as he abruptly increased his speed to the limit. In a flash, he had disappeared into the horizon. The surroundings of the lightning lake was a complete mess. Fresh blood and corpses floated on the lightning lake, causing the color of the lake to become much darker. Those surviving experts looked in the direction where the black light figure had headed towards with terrified expressions. None of them dared to give chase. "That thing seems to be chasing after Lin Dong." The grey-haired elder peered into the distance before speaking in a surprised voice. Pang Hao was initially startled upon hearing this. Joy quickly rose within his eyes as he laughed coldly, "What an unlucky brat. But it's just as well. Using the silver corpse to finish him off will save us the trouble of doing so. Let's go. He waved his hand after his voice sounded. After which, he led the group from the 9 Serene Gate and quickly headed towards the deeper parts of the cave from another direction. The other experts around the lake began to follow them one after another upon seeing this. However, no one dared to have any funny ideas with respect to the silver corpse like they did earlier. They understood that the thing was far too difficult to deal with. One's life was ultimately the most important thing. 2 rays of light flashed through the sky at lightning speed. Their high speed created deep sonic boom sounds. Lindorm's expression was grim. His speed had been unleashed to its limit. He could sense that the black light human figure behind him was steadily closing the gap. Clearly, it was even faster than them. "Brother Lindorm, be careful!" Mu Lingshan suddenly exclaimed while Lindorm was thinking of how to escape. He suddenly lifted his head and saw the space in front of him distort. A strong-looking human figure that gave off an evil demonic aura appeared at that spot in a strange manner. "Lingshan, leave first if anything goes wrong." Lindorm gazed at the demon corpse which had appeared in front of him. His heart sunk as he slowly said. Mu Lingshan bit her lips. Her small hand tightly grabbed the life-death coffin cover in her embrace as blue light rapidly flickered within those large eyes. "Prepare for an all-out fight." Lindorm inhaled a deep breath. His eyes gradually turned ice-cold and as sharp as a blade. Regardless of how difficult it was to deal with this thing, it was impossible for Lindorm to simply surrender. The black light figure stood in the air. Those black eyes stared intently at Lindorm. A moment later, fluctuations appeared in those completely emotionless eyes. His body trembled slightly as though he was struggling. Soon after, he slowly extended his hand as an unusually hoarse trembling voice emerged from his mouth. "Devouring. Ancestral symbol, help me." A hoarse and unclear voice slowly emerged from the black light figure's mouth in a shaky manner. Upon hearing those words, Lindorm was immediately startled, before an astonished expression surfaced on his face. At this moment, the sharpness in his eyes had weakened substantially. "Your consciousness hasn't dissipated?" Lindorm stared at the black light figure wrapped in an evil Yimo aura. After hesitating for a while, he asked. The black light human figure stood in the air as bright light continuously flickered within those black eyes of his. Lindorm could see the intense struggling taking place within them. Obviously, the former seemed to be battling with the Yimo chi inside his body, causing him to awaken from his mindless killing state. "Help me!" A hoarse voice containing intense feelings of beseechment rang out once again from the black light figure. "Yang, what's going on? How can he maintain this sliver of clarity?" Lindorm quickly asked in his mind. In the past, he had met quite a few demonic corpses that had been corroded by Yimo chi. However, all of them had turned into mindless killing puppets without a single exception. There was simply nothing that could retain its mind under the corrosion of the Yimo chi. Due to the lightning energy permeating his body for thousands of years at the bottom of this lightning lake, the Yimo chi within his body was somewhat suppressed. Furthermore, the Yimo which had killed him back then had intentionally sealed a sliver of his consciousness within his body. Perhaps that sliver of consciousness has now managed to find a small chink in the balance between the lightning energy and the Yimo chi, thus preventing him from completely entering a mindless killing state. Yang replied. "Then, how can I help him?" Lindorm muttered. "Is able to sense the devouring ancestral symbol within your body. You should know that Yimo chi is extremely evil and sinister. Normal energy is simply unable to dispel it. Only the 8 great ancestral symbols as well as some extremely supreme divine treasures possess such power. He needs you to help him dispel the Yimo chi within his body." Upon hearing these words, Lindorm instantly felt as though a huge and thorny problem had been dropped on him. He knew that both the ancestral stone and devouring ancestral symbol had the ability to dispel Yimo chi. However, the Yimo chi present in the corpse before him was obviously abnormal. Therefore, it would be extremely difficult even for him. If by some chance that Yimo chi was to invade his body, it would truly be a headache. However, in this situation, if he was to reject, there was no guarantee the demonic corpse would not go crazy once again. At that time, he would be faced with an advanced profound death stage demonic corpse that had lost all sense of reason and only knew how to kill. Lin Dong would have an even greater headache. This truly is troublesome, Lin Dong laughed bitterly. Obviously, he did not expect that things would progress to such a stage. This demonic corpse had unexpectedly asked for his help. Furthermore, it seemed that there was no other choice for him but to help, if not. The Yimo Qi within his body is indeed considerably powerful. Even if you want to dispel it, I'm afraid that you will need to use the 3 great divine treasures. Yang said. 3 great. The corners of Lin Dong's eyes twitched. He naturally knew what Yang was talking about: the ancestral stone, the devouring ancestral symbol, and the ancient universe formation within his body. This was the first time after so many years that he needed to utilize these deepest secrets hidden within his body. Please, help free me. As the expression within Lin Dong's eyes wavered, the demonic corpse started to tremble increasingly intensely. Faint fluctuations sparkled within its black eyes, while thick feelings of besiegement filled its words. Thinking about it, being sealed for hundreds and thousands of years was practically the most frightening torture in the world for him. His sliver of consciousness had to watch his body being slowly corroded bit by bit, before finally turning into a mindless killing demonic corpse. Such helplessness and sorrow would cause absolute despair. Seeing the endless sorrow and misery gushing out from the eyes of the demonic corpse, Lin Dong's tightly clenched fists slowly relaxed. Finally, gently sighing, he replied while nodding his head, "I'll try my best." Although he knew that this would likely be quite risky for him, he understood that the current him could no longer reject. "Thank you." Hearing Lin Dong's response, gratitude immediately erupted from the eyes of the demonic corpse. "Ling Shan, please help protect me. Do not let anyone disturb me." Lin Dong tilted his head and spoke to Mu Lingshan. "Okay." Mu Lingshan nodded her head firmly. Her small hands tightly grasped the life-death coffin cover in her bosom. Upon seeing this, Lin Dong waved his sleeve as the burning sky cauldron flew out, before heading towards the demonic corpse in front of him. "Follow me into the cauldron. I'll try my best to attempt to dispel the Yimo Qi within your body." As Lin Dong's voice rang out, the demonic corpse instantly shot forward. It entered the burning sky cauldron without the slightest bit of hesitation. Next, Lin Dong also transformed into a streak of light that flew into the cauldron. Upon seeing the two enter the burning sky cauldron, Mu Lingshan proceeded to sit down in the air, her large eyes wide open as she vigilantly watched the surroundings. Within the burning sky cauldron, Lin Dong looked at the demonic corpse standing before him. The rich and powerful Yimo Qi rising from the latter's body caused his eyelids to tremble uncontrollably. With a thought, a black streak of brilliance howled out from his crown, before transforming into a black hole-like ancient symbol. Strong devouring power radiated from the symbol, causing all the surrounding energy that came into contact with it to be devoured. Devouring ancestral symbol. As the demonic corpse stared at the black hole-like symbol floating in the air, emotions welled up and surfaced within his black eyes. His senses were indeed correct. "Elder, the Yimo Qi within your body is too strong. This young one is too weak, and cannot only rely on the devouring ancestral symbol to dispel it." After summoning the devouring ancestral symbol, Lin Dong explained the current situation in a deep voice. "Your best is enough. I'll do my utmost to resist the urge to hurt you." The demonic corpse replied in a hoarse voice. Every time he spoke, his body would tremble intensely, while sinister and evil intent and clarity continuously swapped around within his eyes. Obviously, he was suppressing the killing urge within his body, stopping himself from attacking Lin Dong. Faintly nodding his head, Lin Dong said, "However, I have other things that can dispel the Yimo Qi. If nothing unforeseen occurs, I should be able to accomplish this task." After speaking, with a flip of his palm, a bright glowing array surfaced from within it. In a blink of an eye, gale started to form as it transformed into a gigantic glowing array 1,000 feet large. Floating in the air, waves of unique fluctuations started to slowly radiate from it. Having retrieved the ancient universe formation, Lin Dong opened his mouth as gentle white streak of brilliance shot out from within, before transforming into a stone talisman. Astonishing and unique fluctuations similarly radiated from it. As the three great divine treasures appeared simultaneously, waves of distortion started to appear in the space within the burning sky cauldron. One could faintly feel the yuan power present start to churn and flare up. These are divine treasures. Raising its head to look at the gigantic glowing array as well as the stone talisman, a vacant expression appeared within the demonic corpse's eyes. He did not recognize these two objects. However, this did not prevent him from sensing their might. "Elder, please bear with it. If you put up any resistance, I'm afraid that I cannot restrain you." Lin Dong spoke in a deep voice as his expression turned grave. This demonic corpse possessed the strength of the advanced profound death stage. If he was to turn crazy, even with the three great divine treasures in his hands, it would still be extremely difficult for him to restrain it. Upon hearing Lin Dong's words, the demonic corpse nodded his head, before sitting down in the air. Suddenly, muffled thunder seemed to ring out from within its body. In the next instant, Lin Dong noticed that much of the Yimo Qi that pervaded its body had unexpectedly been withdrawn. At the same time, the demonic markings that covered his entire body had dimmed. Obviously, he was relying on the lightning energy within his body to suppress the Yimo Qi to his utmost ability. Upon seeing this, Lin Dong softly sighed in relief. With a thought, the ancient universe formation in the sky started to revolve. However, this time, it was revolving in the counterclockwise direction. Instantly, a rather unique energy started to condense at the center of the array. This was the disintegration power of the ancient universe formation. Back then in the unique devil region, Lin Dong had relied on this power to kill hundreds of elite disciples from the Yuan Gate, and had even used it to kill the Yuan Gate's three little kings. The current Lin Dong's strength could not compare to before. The might of the ancient universe formation displayed by him now far exceeded the past. As the ancient universe formation revolved, the ancestral stone also started to tremble. In the next moment, waves of brilliance which gentleness and whiteness had reached the extremity started to surface. The devouring ancestral symbol had also started to revolve. Within the black hole, black light pervaded by devouring power rapidly gathered. "Go?" Lin Dong's expression was taut. Tapping the space before him with a finger, a soft roar emerged from his mouth. Following Lin Dong's roar, light exploded in the sky. Three distinctly colored energy pillars containing astonishing fluctuations shot forth. Rumbling as they descended, they smashed down onto the body of the demonic corpse sitting in the air. As the power of the three great divine treasures descended on the demonic corpse, white smoke instantly started rising from the demonic markings that covered its body. In the next instant, a fierce and hair-raising shriek rang out. This video will end here.